Hello, Ultimate Rock League. So we kind of forgot to get an intro for this, or I think we did. I'm not sure. I'm gonna put this here. This is the All Star Power Rankings. Yap, yap, yap. So yeah, enjoy what you guys see, and don't be mad at us. We don't know anything because there was no games played. It's just a preseason. It's just content. Don't be mad or be mad. I don't care. I hope you like it. And hopefully we see something in the next coming weeks that we can move you guys around if you guys aren't good, and this you guys aren't ranked good. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Um,
Let's
so let's
let's
let's let's reset this and let's move on to All Star. And
Oh,
maybe,
we're cooking.
yeah, we're definitely cooking. Let's try to talk a little. Let's try to get this done a little bit faster though.
I'm in.
2 hours per team. That's a 6 hour video. That's very long to watch. Um,
agree.
so let's see if we could do like an hour per team for All Star and Ultimate. I had fun doing that. That was enjoyable. Or crazy. You do it. You just split them up and uh, you edit us out right now and you split. Let's do that. Let's do that. Right. Let's do.
Contender All Star Ultimate 360
Yeah.
it is.
We'll just split them up and you can
I
just
like
edit
that.
this out.
Yeah.
So, crazy. Give me a countdown, and then I'll just do a quick intro. We'll move into All Star.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, guys. This is part two. This is for all of our All Star players. It's your boy Henny again. I'm with Crazy and Chapped. We're continuing on from our last video about contender. We're moving straight into All Star, and we're gonna get down and dirty. If you watch the contender video, I hope you guys do. Even if you're All Star or Ultimate, I hope you guys spend some time on the contender, video, get to know your guys' teams. But we're gonna knock out, this part two here, and then we're gonna move on to part three here in the future. But let's get cooking on this All Star one. Crazy. Go ahead. Just say what's up, chap. Say what's up, and we'll get cooking here.
Yo, I'm Crazy Monkey, director of streaming, and that's basically all I do. I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, quick introduction. I do streaming. You have any questions? Message me. You want to be a caster? Message me. That's all I got.
Awesome, crazy. I'm Chapped. I'm newer to the director team for URL. I do admissions as well as wherever I can kind of, fit in. And I'm excited to play an Ultimate this year, man. Oh, it's gonna be such a challenge if I even get playing time.
Yeah, hopefully you do, chap. Hopefully you do.
I
But
think I might sneak in one.
He's not.
we are the bottom of the barrel, and
That's
all
fine. Man,
right,
at least I'm in
boys.
the barrel.
Yeah, at least you're in that barrel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Crazy, we're not in that barrel with you yet. So,
Thankfully, I do
um,
not want to be there.
right? There's some good players up there, man. But let's get into it. Let's start knocking out this All Star. We're gonna start off back, with the Bears All Star team. You got Hazard as a 14-5. Uh, I think it's Yawa, right?
Yeah, you would stocks.
Ewa, okay, so it's Ewa at a 14, Atomic at a 12.5, and A Wolf at a 12.5. This team is not oversell at all. They can field a roster here. Um, Again, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know much about this team here. I don't know about too much about these players. Uh, I've watched Hazard a little bit and Ewa. But that's about it. I've only seen them a couple times, so I'm not going to speak too much on them. If you guys know some about them, I'm going to let you guys speak, and then I'll give my opinion on what from what you guys say.
Um, I know something. I I think Hazard's good. I don't think he's an insane player, but he's definitely good. Um, but he might be insane. He's a 14.5. Is he good? Is he really that good? Anyone want to comment on that?
He has a good peak.
He has a good peak. I don't know.
Yes, he has a very good peak.
I know his base level is pretty good. I don't see him do too
Mm-hmm.
many mistakes when I see him play, so I'll give him that. Socks is honestly he's a really good player. I really like to watch him play. He's fast. He knows what to do. When I watched him in twos, he really looked like he was doing everything on his team. No disrespect to his teammate, but it was a Sox show. And I think they went like undefeated, or they only lost one game in that twos. So yeah, Sox looks pretty good. And then Atomic or Tomiak, I think I don't think he cares what I say. So when I first saw him, I'm like, this player is absolutely horrendous. Like, what is this man doing? But then I've seen him play recently, and he's actually really fast now, and he actually looks like a good player. I won't say he's gonna be like a top 10 All Star player, but he actually looks pretty good and pretty scary sometimes. He hits his stuff. So I think this Bears team is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate everything. I will extrapolate on Atomic though. I play with Atomic a lot. I know him personally. He has gotten like so much better over the past year. It's like insane. I remember like I think it was last three season we were on he played on my team with the Foxes. It was me, Atomic. He used to be TB Storm and Jewish Legs, who is now LBG. And we went to semis and we lost to Ryan Gav's team, of course. But the difference between seeing him then and seeing him now is like it's like a whole different planet. Like it's crazy. He has matured on his game a lot. Very trusted. Like I could see that team like with Sox and Hazard having a lot of skill on the top end. Like you can trust him back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I that's kind of a scary roster. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
that's a
so
good
where
roster.
do you guys have them? I kind of got my opinion now after you guys just talked about them, but let me hear where you guys got them first.
I don't see. I don't. I think for no matter what we do, I think we'll always rate the rosters too low, and then we're gonna have to end up switching them at some point.
Hmm.
I don't want to do this here, but I also don't want to rate them too high. Um, I think I'm gonna put them four. I don't think I'll put them third. I think four. I think four, third or four, but I'm leaning more four personally.
What about you, Chap?
I'm going straight at two.
To-
I think this roster's nuts.
Okay,
I,
so I'm gonna be the middleman here, right? And I heard what you guys said. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put them top two yet because I know some of these rosters coming up. But I could put them three right now. I'd say three's pretty fine for them. That meets. Crazy said four. You said two. And I'll
Completely
be the
fine with that.
middleman for the Bears.
Completely fine with that. The
yep.
Bears are kind of cooking this season.
Yeah, yeah. Hazard's
Yeah.
cooking a little bit.
Los Osos.
And
Um,
then we move on to our Hounds, right? We got Pink Puppy Paws again, drafting his team All Star. They only got two players right now, and that's Chico and McNair. Um, I love McNair. He's a funny guy. Hot or cold again. That's another player. Kind of like Sleepy. Don't know much about Chico, but I'm automatically just because they don't have an actual full roster here. I don't want to give them a top five. Depending on what they do get and how they bring it, there's potential here. There's potential for this team. But I'm gonna go low end here, and I'm just gonna say eight. I'm just gonna say 8 or 9 low end right now. What do you guys
um,
think?
okay, so
I think, yeah, I think Crazy's gonna say what I'm about to say.
I think Chico is a good player, and just by himself, I think he's gonna. I think he's a top player. He's good. He was almost ultimate, and I think he got All Star like overnight because whatever they checked his thing. So yeah, I think Chico's great, and then so we don't have a third to look at, and then we look at McNair, and great guy by the way, cool dude. Talk to him, great guy. He is not a Rocket League player recently. For the past year, from what I thought he was great. Don't get me wrong. And then the past year that I've seen him, every time I see him play, I'm like, there's no way this guy is, you know, a Rocket League player. Like this man has, there's just no way. There's no way this man was at one point an Ultimate player, or even an what is it, an RPC. Like I just don't see him, man. This man has played the worst Rocket League I've seen in a while. I I like the guy, but no, I'm putting them at 9 or 10.
Okay. Chapped. I mean, that was very, very to the point, crazy. Very to the point.
He won't get hurt. We're
Yeah,
cool.
this is the worst team on the board. This is definitely a 10. I mean that partly. I've never seen Chico play.
That's fair.
Um, I have played with McNair and I have my opinions, but I only having two players.
Yeah.
It's the only roster that only has two players. And then on top of that, I don't know if there was much roster construction. So, I
There was
mean,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, we,
So
we, we
at a certain
drafted this
point,
team.
yeah,
Oh
at a
no, we
certain
didn't.
point,
PvP did.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
at a certain point, you kind of just have to call the spade a spade here, and I think that's unfortunately our number 10.
I'm fine with it, right? Like I said, 8 or 9. Crazy said 9 or 10, and you're saying 10. I agree. I mean, they're a bottom of the barrel team right now. Um, I'm fine with 10. Hounds at 10, not looking too good right now, right? Altogether, they're just not looking too good. Bears looking like a top team, all around contender, all star. Hounds, they're not top five. They haven't cracked top five yet. Gonna be crazy to see what they could do. Um,
Now I gotta
Next team
fire it up
here,
though.
yeah, I hope so, man. I
Yeah, I gotta
I,
fire
I
it up.
hope it does.
McNair's about to go off. Watch.
Dude, I hope so. I like the
I
guy.
hope so too.
I
Yeah,
like the guy,
exactly.
but please, I like really like. I've been waiting for him to like pick it up.
Yeah,
I
his
like the guy.
tracker is looking like the stock market crash right now.
Yeah.
You know, after we crash, what they say, failure breeds success. So once you hit the
Exactly.
bottom, you got to go somewhere up,
I'm
right?
seeing
I'm with it.
a
I'm with it.
McNary Euro champion. No, that's maybe too much.
Well, let's move on to the rhinos here, right? The rhinos, we're looking at Kryptonic 1210, DW43, and On Fire at a 12. So we've got a 14, a 14.5, and a 12.5. I Can we field a team right here on right
Yes.
away? We can.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm looking at this. I don't know much about DW. I've seen Kryptonic.
Wait, we can?
They've got
I thought we couldn't because they needed a fourth player.
No, that's the ghost player rule.
Yeah, they have
So if you
0 sal left.
no, that's including the ghost player rule. So
Okay,
that available set. Yeah.
gotcha.
No,
okay.
that's a fillable roster.
Cool.
Okay.
Only
So
because on fire is a 12-5. Sorry.
right.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm gonna look here, and you've got two top players, right? Can those two top players, win with the lowest ranking player? And I'm not saying he's the lowest ranking player, but as in like Sal wise, right? 12.5s are the lowest rank in All Star. Can those two guys do it? I think so, right? I would go to say yes, they could win. Can they win it all? I'm gonna say no. And when I look at top four, I'm thinking either of these teams can win it all. So I cannot give the nod to this team and say they're a top four team. I'm fine with 5 or 6 here. Elevator music, cue it right now. Nobody else is talking.
All right, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got that chat.
I've seen DW play. I think they go as DMZ in the server. They're a
Yeah,
good player. I have seen on fire play. Again, I think that's a good combination. I haven't seen Kryptonic play. So
I,
that's
I
where
really do like On Fire. It's just hard
yes,
with being a 12.5.
of course. But I mean, if you're going to have a high sal player in DMZ, you're going to need a low sal player, and I think on fire
Right.
is one of those better players. I definitely would put this team probably right around where you're saying, maybe that 5-6. I just don't know how it'll look on the field with Kryptonic because I've never seen them.
Okay.
But I'd be
Crazy.
impressed with DMZ and on fire.
Yeah, definitely agree.
For
Crazy.
the fact that I've only seen on fire from anyone in this roster, I don't know. By Sal, yes, I would maybe put them 4 or 5, but I have no clue how Kryptonic play or DW play. I think on fire is a great 12.5. He's not gonna be doing everything for the roster. He's just gonna be there to make sure that everything they can play, and he'll play to the best of his ability. I think he'll do great at that. So for that, I think I have to put them like at 6 because I just don't know.
I'm in agreement on the 6 here.
Yeah.
But like they should be a good roster looking at Styles. That's why I put them at 6
Yeah.
and not
Mhm.
lower.
Like they can crack the top 5. I definitely think they can. But for the sake of what we're doing right now, definitely a 6.
Cool. Rhinos. 6.
And now we move on to the Phantom. Right here with the Phantom, we've got Saltbag at 12.5. We got Qdar at 14 and Candyman at 14.5. Now, I know we have almost the same exact, or we do have the same exact makeup of Salwise as our last team, the Rhinos, but this is where I can sit here and say, and I believe this in Candy, that this is number 4.
Whoa.
And he's at 4 or 5. They're above the Rhinos, and that's heavily based off Candy. Candy is one of the better All-Star players. Candy is cracked. Saltbag is a 12.5, right? I mean, that's a great 12.5 too to go right there with On Fire. I don't know much about QDR though, but I give Candy the nod over DMZ right here. I would give Candy the nod over a lot of 14.5s. So I to me, like, this is a 5 or 4 team easily.
I'll jump
Uh,
in there. So I've seen Kadar and Candy play. I've played with Candy and against Candy. Candy is cracked. Very mechanical. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really not too much, or I shouldn't say, there's really not too many players in All Star that have the full, I'd say, like tool set mechanically that Candy has. I think where this team goes awry is Saltbag. I love Saltbag. Don't get me wrong, but that's I think Quidar and Candy are very, very good on the offensive side. Quidar is probably a little bit more rounded. Candy is just fast. I think on that back end was where you really need a solid, like, if you're going to go this route with a high sal, low sal. I don't know if Saltbag is that player. So I would probably put this team behind the Rhinos at 7. Or like I said, around that 5, 6, 7 spot. But just looking at it on paper, I would believe in On Fire or Razette third over Saltbag. No disrespect to Saltbag.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have On Fire over Saltbag. It's for me talking about that 14.5, but let's hear your opinion here, Crazy.
um, I agree. At last season, I said Candy was the best All Star player. I don't think that changes much this season. Maybe I'll drop him a couple, but yeah, he's a top player in All Star. He's a great player. Mechanics are there. Quadar, I confuse him a lot for some teams in RPC, um, just because they're all around the same to me. And it's gonna sound egotistical, but I don't care. I'm gonna beat them anyways. Now how I beat them, I don't know. I might have lost to them a couple times. I have no clue. But yeah, they're all around the same. So I don't know if I'm getting Quadar as the right person. I think he's um again. I think Chap said he's well rounded. So I do think I'm thinking of the same person.
I think you are.
I think his defense is great. His offense is
Yeah.
not as great, but it's okay. He has something going for him there. Um, so he's not bad. 14, sure, good player. Sawbag, I don't think, as Chapped also said, I just don't know how that's gonna work. I think that's gonna leave way too many holes for the Phantoms. And I also don't think Sawbag is in the server anymore. So I don't think that roster is gonna be like that anyways. But assuming that Saltbag would be in this roster, I just think the holes are too big. And sure, Phantoms can maybe cover that for the 8, 9, 10 teams, maybe the 7 team. But towards the top teams, I don't think they're gonna have enough to cover up those holes that Saltbag brings. So I think I have to put them uh either below the Rhinos or on Rhino spot. So I would say 7 currently.
So let's do this, right? I mean, you guys have said behind the Rhinos, right? So let's just make that change right now. Let's move
Oh yeah,
Rhinos to 5 and move Phantom to 6.
Boom.
I'm fine with that. I like that. All right,
I
cool.
just say that my biggest disagreement here is Candy. I just think Candy, and out of all the players that we've talked about, is definitely right now the best player. And
I
if
agree.
Saltbag's not in there and they need somebody, man, I'll tell you right now, I'll jump to All Star to go play with Candy in a heartbeat. So,
Um,
uh, for the Phantom right there, Ducks. I mean, hey, man, it's possible.
I think this team is gonna be good
I
once they
think they're going to be good.
once they get rid of that Sawback, which they will, and I know the player they're gonna pick up. And although I do talk trash about this player, and he can yap whatever he says, he's a pretty good player for his Sal. and I think this team would do good.
Who are they gonna pick up? Give
Uh,
us some insight.
literally a frog, I presume.
If they do pick up
I
Frog,
think
man,
that's a good team.
is Frog a 12-5?
He's a 12-5, yes.
Yes.
If they pick up Frog, I'll be honest, top three.
Wow.
Oh,
I Frog as a third man, and I'll dog on Frog all the
Ryan
time
Gav.
just because Frog and I got a good relationship with them. But if they pick up Frog and Frog plays within the system, man, that's a tough one, right? That's a tough one to beat.
Good team, yeah.
I'd give that team a top three. And that's again heavily on Candy, being a favorite like we did with LTR back over in Contender in the last video. Um, but yeah, I like where we have them now. I definitely agree with you guys. But now we're moving on to the Cyclones, and this is a fun one right here, right?
Yeah, a lot of players on that team. Again, we all need to fix that. What is this?
Yeah, that's a hodgepodge.
Like, that's crazy. Um,
Right now. Um, but they have Karen or Karan. I'm not sure how you say the name. So then you got Chromie Black. You've
um,
got Dark at a 14.5, JB the Shrink at a 12.5, and you got Ryan and Gav, right? Man, it's tough because Rye wins. Rye wins. Dark's a great player too. For a 14.5, Dark's up there. But man, I don't care what you say at 14. If you're looking at second man here, Ryan Gav, that's the best second man that you're gonna have. Out of all players here, like if you need a second man, Ryan Gav's gonna be your best second man. I've got to watch him for many seasons. Crazy, you have to. There's one thing. Rye's not your number one scorer, but he is the guy that will make sure that ball's pushed, that he's getting back on defense. He's smart, right? That right there alone to me, like you match him and Dart together, insane. And now you can afford a 13 Sal. So you look at, Karan. I don't know if that's how you say the name again. I don't know much about that player. JB, I like JB. JB's grown. I've played with JB multiple times. He's grown as a player. But if we're talking about people who can carry a low Sal like we have with the last two teams, Candy's great, but is QR better than Rye? I don't know. Is what's his name? Is Kryptonic going to be better than Rye? I don't know. I think I give Rye the knock up there, which to me, based off how we've ranked the last two teams, this team's either 4 or 2.
Chad, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So, shout out Karen, Karan. That's Sloth Vibes in the server. They said like 14 times that they weren't going to get picked up by anybody. So, I was right. I did play against Sloth Vibes. I believe it was in one of the combines, and they were solid. I play with Chromie Black a lot. That dude's peak is insane. So that's where it gets really interesting because when I look at the roster, if you're playing Dark, you have a combination because of the 13-5s of Chromie, who has a GC1 level peak, even with a 13-5. Like, he's a very good player. Or Ryan Gav at the second, with either Sloth Vibes or JB as your third. I don't know if the roster is going to change because of the amount of players, or if, for example, Rye is going to play or Rye isn't going to play. But I think if you put Rye or Chromie Black at that second man, it's still a dangerous team. I have them right at 2.
Okay. What do you got, Crazy?
So I don't know much about Chromie, so I don't know where I would. So he's.
The homie Chromie.
I don't know. I don't know what he is. I have no clue. JB, I think he's inconsistent. He's okay. I don't think they're gonna play him much. Um, but I know Ryan Gav. I definitely know Ryan Gav. unfortunately, I have to face him in playoffs a lot, and it never ends well for me. So I know he's a good player. He's very annoying. His counterattacks are very good. And then Dark, I'm assuming that's Dark Ant, I believe. Yes, that would make
Yes.
sense. Dark Ant, you know, his ground play is one of the best. I think his ground play is amazing. I think his aerials have gotten better to a point where they're not nowhere near the best, but they can compete. Which was his main weakness when I used to play with him. Uh, he just couldn't aerial that great, and that would leave us in not awkward positions. But now that he's kind of fixed that, I think he's a good player. And then Karen, I think I've seen him play. Does he have any other names beside that in Sloth Vibes? Or am I? Is that it?
I've only seen them as sloth vibes. I
Sloth Vibes. I'm not sure if I've seen him. I think I have actually. I think they're pretty decent. I don't know.
think they were in the combines.
Were they in the combines?
Yeah, not to steal your thunder. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they were. I think they were good. I'll give them that. And for this roster, although individually there might be better players, I think as a team it's gonna be a scary roster. I think it's gonna Ryan Gav is gonna mold him into the team that he wants him to be, which is the heavy counterattacks. And I think me personally, this is a number one team for me, or number two, but I'm leaning more number one.
So let's do this, right? Like I said, 2 or 4 because that's what we got open.
Yep.
Um, and then Chap said strictly 2. You say 1 or 2. Let's go ahead and put them at 2 for now. If
Cool.
we don't find a team that is number 1 and we're like, hey, this team's number 2, let's do it. But yeah, I definitely agree. Top 2. And what you're saying about Chromie Chap just really has now made me think. All right, 4 is not right. 2 is the spot, like bare minimum. So they're dynamic. They have a lot of shifts that they can make here. Ryan can step in or Chromie can step in. But with their Sal, right, with being 13 fives, they allow a 13 Sal. And I'm going to give a 13 Sal the head over, the Rhinos and Phantom with their 12 fives.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I definitely like this as a 2 or 1 spot here. And now we go on to the Armada. We've got Square Pegasus, JV Rider, and Chegg. Ooh, it's a good makeup. It's a good makeup. Square Pegasus, like I said, I've always wanted to play with them. I don't know how Square plays now, but I know a couple seasons back, like really great, just all around player. So I'd say for a 13, probably one of the better 13s. Chegg, Chegg's a winner. He Chegg has had. I don't know if Chegg's won one,
Nope.
but he's always up there. His teams are always making a push, and then Ryder, right? The only thing is like I look at Ryder and I'm like, all right, you're a 14, Chegg's at 13 and a half, and then Square's at 13. Um, I man, it's tough because I look at the 4 spot and I'm like, does this team, with their makeup, Ryder's a good player, but I'm still giving the knock over to like, the Cyclones, and their 13 fives are better than everybody else on this team. I mean, you could just take the Cyclones 13 fives then and put them on a team, and they'd probably still be better. Um, so I guess I'm gonna go here and sit there and say like, even though they have a 14, 13 5, and a 13, I definitely like our teams with the 14s. Especially like Phantoms with Candy. Um, they're not this team is not going to beat the Phantom. I don't see them beating the Rhinos. So I'm going to give them a 7 right now. 7 or 8 is where I'm going to put this team, just because they don't. To me, there's not one overly dominant player that I can say he's him.
Yeah. I guess I'll take a crack at this. I'm looking at Armada, and I'm kind of scared for them defensively while looking at this. I think
Yeah, I would agree.
Square of Pegasus will have to be the third man most of the time, and yes, he's good defensively. And sure, I'll give it to him, but I think he's gonna be left in a lot of 1v2 situations, and there's not much you can really do. You won't win most of them, or you could, but you're still gonna lose some of them. I think Jerry Ryder is a really good offensive player. I think his defense sort of lacks. I think Chegg is just an offensive player. I think his defense is very lacking, and I
I
think those
agree.
two players are gonna overcommit a lot. So I think the defense on this is just gonna be Square Pegasus 1v2. It ain't gonna look too pretty. I think it's a number 18 for me.
I like it. I like how you just brought all that together, crazy. That was nice. That was very short, sweet, and I just learned a lot. So, Chap, what do you got to follow up with that?
Hmm. I can follow up with reiterating that Chegg is definitely an offensive player. They beat me 13-1
Damn.
in a game last year. That was tough.
Shout out Chad.
Um, yeah, shout out Chegg. I have to give him his flowers on that one because that was I think by the end of it, I think I fell asleep. I don't know. I haven't seen too much Square Pegasus. JV Ryder is a very good offensive player. I've seen them play probably a handful of times, but not enough to really know. I'm probably gonna lean towards Crazy's judgment here because he kind of just walks circles around all of us. So I probably put them in that 7-8 spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree, man. I said 7, but Crazy did. I mean, he really
Yeah, he
summed it
cooked.
up. And yeah, I mean, like the whole idea. Like I wasn't even thinking about how many 2v1s and the overcommit from a very offensive team like this. So I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with the 8.
Yeah.
The common Crazy W right there.
Right. Like just show us all
Well,
love,
well,
man.
let's
Like
calm down. Armada might
I
come
feel
out and
like
start my
I,
swing.
I
Get number one, and we'll just look dumb now.
I feel like I have to really get more analytical now and more in depth. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job after what Crazy just did.
Yeah, he just made me feel inadequate.
Right. Now we're moving on to the Empire. We're looking at our last 4 here.
Ah,
Crazy, you're on this team, so you're gonna have to do the same thing that I did again. We got Oki at a 3.5 or 13.5. We got Crazy at a 13. Gladium at a 14.5. And as we know, Frog's probably on the trading blocks
he's
here, or
gone.
just a
I can tell you
move.
right now, he's gone. Don't even count him on the
So
team.
so if we're not counting Frog, right, this team can still function, I believe. You know, yeah, they can function, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because Little Frog is Minsal, so if he falls off the roster, it's still the same
Yeah.
Ghost player,
Oh,
12-5.
yeah. So we've got Gladium, Crazy, and Oki, right?
You want me to
This
start?
is this is a good team, right? It is a very good team. Uh, when I look at this, like Crazy's really good at once. Trust me, I know. We play a lot. He knows how I play, so he beats me quite often. But Crazy is very good at once, and when Crazy plays in twos, it's scary. But I've also seen Crazy play in threes, and it's nowhere near as good as his twos or ones. No offense, Crazy. Um,
I would disagree with you there, but
well, then maybe when we play, you just don't really care, and that's kind
oh
of
no,
sad,
for sure. I'm just vibing.
Yeah,
If you're
So
counting,
based off that,
oh,
I think we lost him there for a second.
I do think that my threes is better than my twos. I think my twos is absolutely horrendous. I think I'm one of the worst twos players to ever touch the game, personally.
I'm the exact opposite.
Oh really?
Hmm.
I think my ones is
Yeah,
definitely my best though.
I dominate in twos, and then in threes I get lost.
I get you. Oh, I know. Don't worry. I know.
No, I'm good in threes. How good is Gladium? That's gonna decide.
And
That's
that's
all I
the
need to
part where I
know.
can't help you with because I have never played with the man. But I trust Oki's judgment. He said he's a good player, so he's a good player.
Uh, well, I will fill our Henny shoes right now.
Go ahead.
All right, Frog's off the team.
Frogs off the team.
I will. The only insider info I have is I've been seeing Oki grinding six mans.
Oh, have you? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. There's been a couple times where I've been in calls with Oki, and all I hear is controller noises for like half an hour and him just grunting. And you have to ask, what are you doing? And he's, oh, six mans. Oh, I'm in another six mans. So, if that's any indication, that means he might be on the up. If so, I don't know anything about Gladium, who's the high style player, so I'd probably have to put this team kind of right in the middle. Anywhere from 4 to 6, 5 to 7. We have 4 and 7 open. I would probably put this team closer to 7 only because I don't know who the best player is.
Yep, yep.
Well, guys, I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, we can
Mhm.
hear you.
All right, my bad. I
We
think my
yapped a little
internet.
bit.
Yeah, I think my internet kind of hit down on the ground a little bit there.
I thought it was mine
When,
for a second. I'm like, ah,
no,
shoot.
I think when Crazy started talking about how good he is in threes, it kind of just
I never said I was good at threes. Hold on,
crashed.
hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
I said I was better
You
at
made the
threes than
internet
two.
stop the glazing session.
Right. My internet was like, you don't want to listen to this anymore. But I did get to hear what you said, Chapped. I look at this team, Oki, could be on a come up. I've played with Oki a few times. Not the worst player, but definitely not the best player, right? Um, and Oki had in twos for a while had an individual carry him. And Crazy, you can agree. Cool Kid was him. Uh, so,
And
I look
Senko.
at Oki, huh?
And Senko. It was Kokid and
Yeah,
Senko.
right. And then I see Oki on here. I'm like, all right, that's a good 13-5. Definitely a uh, very good 13-5. Yeah, I see Crazy, and I know what Crazy's capable of. So him being in a 13 is a little wild to me because I kind of expected him to be higher.
Split
Um,
ones, man.
I know. But Gladium, I've seen Glad play a few times, but I look at this team and I know there's chemistry there. But do I give this team the nod over Candy and um, Candy's teammate, and then you add Frog in there? I don't know if I can do that right now. I would have to see how they play against each other, right? And we'll find it out later in the season, hopefully. Uh, and then the Rhinos, right? If we're not putting Phantoms over Rhinos right now, then there's no way I can put this team over, Rhinos either. So if I had to do anything here, I would move Rhinos up to 4. I'd move the Phantom up to 6, and then I would potentially put Empire at 6. Um, or Phantom up to 5, Empire at 6. If we don't want to do that at this moment, then I would say 7. 7's where I'd put this team.
Mm,
Bingo.
interesting. Um,
So Crazy, give us some insight. We're not going to take your vote into consideration, but give us some
huh?
insight here.
No, my vote should definitely be taken into consideration. First of all.
Mine
Um,
didn't, so yours doesn't.
okay. Well, I don't. Okay. Um, I don't know much about Gladium. I'm assuming he's good, from what Oki's told me. I think Oki's one of the best GMs we've ever seen.
For sure.
Definitely
Yeah, that's
better.
facts.
I think the best we've seen. Uh, I don't know. There's a couple above him. I think
Was me,
Rygav,
but
Henny. I think I don't think you're above Rygav personally.
no, I can't because I only did one season as GM. I
Yeah,
just had a very good season.
Ryan
You
has
know,
back-to-back wins in All Star. So
I'm like the Cam Newton of GMs, right?
you're like a
Have
three. You're
that.
like a 3-4.
Yeah, I'm like the Cam Newton where you have like that really good season at Auburn and get a Heisman and win a national championship, but that's about it. Just one good season.
I think Oki knows how to manage his team well. I think he's a great hype man. I don't know how his mental works out sometimes, but I think if you make him feel good, he'll play better. And I think he's better than me. I do. I think he's a good player. Well, we're close. I think we're close in level, but I think he can be better than me for sure. And I think he's gonna show that. I think his offense is great. I think the way he disrupts a play is amazing. I don't think there's many people that can disrupt the team more than him. I think his defense is okay. I think his boost management is not great. But overall, I think he's a good player, and I think a lot of teams don't like to play against him.
Hey, you want to check your chin real quick?
My what?
Your chin. Check your chin real quick.
What do you mean?
Make sure there's nothing on your chin.
Nah,
Yeah,
um, I literally
The
said some bad
Oki
things about him.
glaze is crazy. No,
yeah.
I said some bad things about him because I've been his teammate.
There's no donut around.
But like, the Oki disrespect sometimes is kind of crazy. So I kind of had to hype him up a little bit. I think he is a great player though.
No,
Um,
No, I
Oki
think
is.
it's
He's
fair.
definitely a great player.
I think
So,
people don't put him top 25, top 30, and that's absolutely crazy to me. Um, because he's a
so
top
you're saying he's
15,
lower? Oh, okay, okay.
top 15, and when he's at his best, he's a top 10 player.
So where do you see, like I said, we're not going to take
I
your vote into
I
consideration. Where do
don't
you
I
see you
don't think
guys
it
stacking up
I
right
don't think
now?
it's 4. I don't think it's 7. I think I will put it around 5, 6, as you guys said. But those spots are occupied, so yeah, I would say 7.
So, chat, with that in consideration, do we want to move the Rhino and Phantom up right now and go ahead and put them at 6? Because I definitely, you said they can go anywhere between 4 and 7. I don't think 4 because I just can't put them above the Rhino and Phantoms right now. So it's
Yeah.
either we move them up and we put them at 6, or we keep them and just put them at 7 and move them up at the end.
I think we should move them up at the end, but I agree. Yeah, they're
Okay.
not a 4. I think I was saying like 4, 5, 5, 6. I probably misspoke, but how you described it, basically pitting it 1v1 against the Rhinos and against the Phantoms, you're thinking, I don't know about that just yet.
Right.
So they
So yeah,
got to be in that 6, 7 range.
let's put them at 7 for now. But
Fair.
we'll expect them at 6 by the end of this video here. Let's look over to the next team here. We've got
100.
the Hunters, right? We've got Steb, Superloader, Layden, Ben Omar, Frog, and it's just Hunter. Now, I am not gonna lie. I mean, first off, it's not a top 5 team in my opinion, just based off their salaries, right? Uh, with teams where we've had like a 14 and a half, a 13 and a half, and a 13. Like I don't know these guys, or super looter, my bad. I don't know these guys too much. Um so I I'm very indifferent here with this team. We've only got 3 teams left,
Yep. It's
and
def.
I'm looking at the other 2 teams, right? Just based off their first, like their best player. uh, I think this team becomes our 9th team, just for where we have it. I think they move up, but I just don't know almost anything about any of them except for Stab.
Yeah, I'll. Deb is a very good player for a 14. I was surprised that they
Yeah.
were not max out. Um, Super Looter is a very good offensive player. Could score from just about anywhere on the pitch. I've seen him hit some crazy stuff. I have not seen It's Just Hunter or Layden Binomer, who are probably definitely Layden. Actually, no. With the way that their sal's constructed, they could play a 13 as their third man.
Yeah.
And I have seen Frog play, and he is a solid player. I don't think they're 9, but I think they're up there.
Did crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Frog on one of the winning teams in twos?
Don't think so.
No. Okay, I might be thinking of
Unless he
somebody
goes by a
else.
different name. I don't think so. But I could be
Okay.
wrong. But
So
I don't think so.
Chapped, we're gonna have to put him at 9, right? Like I think that's
Hmm.
where we're kind of like saying. But do you think they're better than the Rhino, the Phantoms, the Empire, or the Armada?
No.
Okay, so 9 fits because they're behind those team. Crazy, what's your idea here?
I think Steb is good. He's obviously a champion, so he's won before.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I'm not too sure about Super Looter. I'll take Chap's word for it. I think I have seen his offensive is great. Not sure about the defense part. I think it's okay. But I haven't seen enough to really rate him as much as I would like to. Because he looks like he'll be a better player than what I think. Um, I don't know any of the other players, so I have no clue where to rate. But yeah, I would say like a 9
Okay, let's put him at 9 for now.
I
for
think it's a good
now.
spot.
Even though I don't think they'll move much for me personally.
I think what we're gonna get down to is they probably move up 1. I think we're gonna move up a team here.
Yep.
Um, Now we're moving on to the rhythm again, right? So we're back to the rhythm. This team doesn't work with what they have. They have EB or Ebby Webby. They got Nino. They got Voidkill. Mr. Ebby Webby was top 10 last season. He's cracked. He's cracked. He's up there. he's up there around that candy range, those top guys. Like he's a 14-5, so he's automatically a top guy, right? But I think when you're looking at All Star here, he's top 5 best players in all of All Star. Um, and then you got Void Kill, that's a 12-5. Void will be able to fit a very good 12-5 if they keep this as a high sal team. Nino is actually cracked. So whatever team picks up Nino is going to get a great player too. But because they don't work, I'm going off the Ebby in the Void here. And a high sal team is what they're going to probably shoot for. I put this team at 4. Just because I don't know who they're going to pick up, but I know I can sit there. I will comfortably say Void is better than On Fire. Void could potentially be better than Frog in a 3 scenario. I might put Void better than Frog in 3s. And then, you got Abby Webby over here, EB Ebb, however you want to address him. He doesn't really care. He matches up with Candy. And we've seen that in the past that they match up. So I'm either giving them the knock at 4 right now because that's the open spot. But I might actually put, Phantom over them in the future once they get Frog on that team. So I think 4 for Rhythm.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have him at the exact same spot. Ebb is a dog. Nino is also a dog.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about a player with a very high peak. I know they haven't shown it recently, but like if you have a player just as good or maybe even better next to you, sometimes that can kind of you can bring each other up.
Yeah.
As far as fitting it though, that's the only thing. I could see this roster being in a different world, this roster being so good. But
if they were to make this is a number 1 team. If this was able to
yes.
work, number 1 team, just based off Nino and Abby
Yes.
by themselves. But yeah,
But I think it'll wind up being some combination of Ebb and probably Void, and then whoever they can find on the free agent market. I still think based on what Ebb's shown, I still think that's a good roster. I agree with you at 4.
yeah, and Ebb and Void definitely have chemistry. They've been together for a while now. Like Chef's done very good at keeping the same people. The same people want to play for Chef. So I mean, we really when you look back at just what Chef's drafted over Contender and All Star, Abby and Void, Chef himself and Pika, like those 4 guys have been together for a while now. So I think there's a lot of good stuff there. Crazy, what's your opinion here?
Honestly, I think I'm gonna lean towards what y'all say a little bit more since I don't think I have watched Ebby enough. All I know is that I need to watch him if y'all rated him that highly, because I have not seen.
Dog.
If he's a dog, I gotta see it
Dog.
because I really don't know. Then I really don't know. Nino, I have seen play. That man is a dog. I'm surprised he's not ultimate for sure, but good for him because now he's gonna be a really great all-star player. Void Kill, I haven't seen enough of, so I'm gonna lean towards y'all more at 4. Is that what we went with? 4.
Yeah, I'm going 4 here.
Chappie?
Yes, also 4. I think that's so fair for that team.
Yeah, even without
Yep.
a second man here, 4. I don't think they move up or they move down. I think they just stick at 4 until we find out who their second guy is.
Yeah.
And now we look at our last team. We got Jewish Lakes, Gavin, Sub-Zero, and AIDS. It's a 12-5, a 13.5, a 13, and then a 14-5, right?
Yep.
I know Sub plays very well. Sub's been really good at putting teams together before. He is a very good player. Jewish Lakes, I don't know too much about. And the rest of the guys, I really don't know. I've seen Gavin. Not a bad 13 at all. That's a pretty good pickup for 13. I will say I will give the knock, by looking at the 13s on here. If we had to scale them, like I'm looking at this team and I'm stacking them against the Empire right now. And glad I might give the knock over Jewish. And then I'm going to look at that 13th spot. I'm giving the knock to Crazy on that one for sure. And that there's no bias there. I just know Crazy versus Gavin. I think I'm taking Crazy. And then I look at the 13-5s. My 13-5, I'm giving sub over Oki. I would give sub there. So just based off that, I'd have to put this team, behind Empire because they in the head to head scenario there, it's 2-1 on Empire side, and so I would put them behind Empire. Couldn't really put them at the one. In the Armada,
Well, we're gonna have to, but yeah.
yeah, and then we're looking at the Armada. Square, Ryder, Chegg. I'm definitely putting them above the Armada. So honestly, right now, if you want crazy, and if you guys agree, I would say put them in the 8 spot for now. Right next to Armada. Don't put them in the 1 just yet, or the 8 spot right behind Empire. What do you guys think?
I think you're. I think there might be some crack involved in that.
Uh,
So Sub Zero is very good for a 13-5. Like
That's what I said. That's what I said.
it's probably the best 13-5 in the league.
I'm
I'm
agreeing.
I'm with you on Gavin. I think Gavin and Crazy are definitely closer than you think, and that's not a knock to Crazy. I just had a team that I coached play Gavin, and Gavin dismantled this team. Like I think they're definitely making some strides, and I play with Jewish legs all the time. And the one thing I will say, I guess he goes by LBG now. The one thing that they go or about LBG is like their peak is all the way to the roof, and I don't think their lowest is all the way to the floor, but there's an inconsistency sometimes there. But I think that's where Sub Zero comes in because he's such a solid player. I think this is a top like 3-4 team.
Okay. What do you think, Crazy?
I think they're good. For sure. I think Jewish legs. I'm on a team with him. You know, he's pretty good. I won't lie. He's nice with it. Um, Gavin. Yeah, he's pretty good. I think it is a lot closer between me and him. I won't say I'm better, but I'm better. Not kidding.
I give you the edge, just so you know.
I don't know. I think it's close. I think it depends, but I think since I have Oki on my team, I don't think Gavin will look better than me on the field personally. Um, I think I would definitely look better than him on the field just because of my teammates. Sub Zero, I normally would say that he is pretty good, and I mean he is pretty good, but and he'll tell you right now he is not looking the greatest currently. I think once he puts his hours up, he's going to be a team destroyer. But currently, I think I'm better than him. Close, but I think I'm better than him. Um, that's only right now. By season comes, if he puts in the hours, I am nowhere close. Um, so right now we have to put them at 1, but I'm leaning more
We,
with
we
Henny.
don't we don't have to put him at 1,
Oh
right?
yeah,
This is the
yeah. I'm
last
I'm just
team,
saying.
so
For now, he's gonna be moved down, but I'm leaning more to where Henny was saying, under us or maybe right above us, right around us as Empire, right around
so
there.
so go ahead and put the Vikings right there with Empire. Then just put them on that same line. Now let's go back through this, right?
Cool.
Um, I honestly truly believe that 1 and 2, we just moved the Bears and the Cyclones up.
Yeah, I agree.
I also agree.
Now this is where I know we're talking about teams at this moment. Um, Rhythm, I definitely think like we kind of agree they're just 4,
Oh yeah,
but we
sure.
have to move somebody above Rhythm, right?
Uh,
And when we start talking about who we're moving above, this is where it's going to get a little shaky. You're talking about you know uh, Phantom or the Rhino. So we've got, and I think this is where we have to add in Frogs going there, right? So
sure.
with Frog going there, I think we give the knock to Phantom because Candy, right? Frog is better than On Fire. Um, and then you've got Candy, who right now just to me is the best player in all of All Star. Um, So I think, just with the idea of Frog going there, I think we move Phantom up to 3, leave Rhythm at 4, and then Rhino stay at 5, and then we can talk from there. But I mean, if you guys disagree, we can hash that out real quick.
I think we move Rhythm to 3.
Yeah, I do too.
But I can't, because I'm not gonna put Abby Candy right now, right? And they're both they're in the same boat, right? You've got Abby and Void, and then you've got Candy and Qdar. Right now, the second man pillar, Qdar's winning. First man pillar, Candy's winning. The third man, like I said, I give Void the knock over Frog on the third man there. So I mean, if we're going off the 2 players that they can roll with right now, the Phantom are higher than the Rhythm.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I think Rhythm have enough space to get a 14 that's better than Quad Art if they're in the league, which I would hope they
So
are.
yeah, so I mean, you're saying if there's no space, then that means Phantom's better than the Rhythm.
Sorry, what?
He just said there's
I said if Rhythm, because they have to get rid of Nino, they have enough space to get someone that better than Quad Art. As you said, you give Candy over Eevee, and then you give that's 2-1. If you
yeah,
give
but if we go off of who they have, right? Are they gonna find somebody better than Quidar? We know Frog's
Eh,
going
maybe.
to we know Frog's going to Rhythm or to Phantom, right? So like that's a for sure thing from what you said.
Oh,
But as
if
a
Frog there, okay, yeah, I guess.
so that's I guess that's where I'm looking at this is like
I
right
thought we were going
now.
off Salt Bag. That's why.
No, well, I'm just talking about the 2 players they have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Qdar is definitely better than Void. Candy's better than Ebby right now. So if you went off those 2, like the 2 versus 2, obviously you have to give Phantom that knock. But I mean, if we don't want to give Phantom the knock right now, um, then you move the Rhinos up to 3 because they at least have a full team to go with. Like they don't, they already have it.
Chap.
Yeah, I think I would definitely put. I like where you're going with this, Henny. I think if you put the Phantoms at 3 and then roll everything down from there, I
Yeah,
think that's probably the most consistent way we can look at it. Because even though, like, for example, I think I was talking about DMZ on Rhinos, Candy's like proven anywhere Candy plays, he plays well. Like,
yeah,
it is what it is. I've seen Kodar play. I've seen Kodar play well everywhere. I think if you were to look at, like, if the sky were to fall, I think their baseline is definitely higher than the Rhinos or the Rhythms baseline.
yeah,
Like, the worst they could play. And that might be the easiest way to think about it because we don't know the full extent of what the Rhinos are going to be capable of.
yeah. No, I agree. I think top 5 looks very good. And when you even look at the top 5, right, you're looking at the Cyclones, right? They just have the best team makeup. Like for what they have, the players that they got, all around that team makeup is number 1. And then you look at the Bears.
This makes you hate Rye.
Yeah, it does. You look at the Bears and like you guys talk them up. So they have to have the next best team makeup right there. Uh and what they have. So 1 and 2 is very comfortable. It's just that 3, 4, 5, right? Do we know much about the Rhinos? Not really. And then you look at like Phantom and Rhythm, you're like, man, Candy's the best player in All Star. They got a very, very good 14, and then Rhythm has a top. I would go top 3 in Ebby. Like I am not. I think saying he's just top 5 is actually taken away from him. Top 3. So I think that fair like matches up. But because the head to head, right? You have to put the best player above the third best player, and that's where you get your 3, 4 Rhinos. They're just unproven, but I think they're going to end up being a top 5 team no matter what. And then this is, I think, Armada, Hunters, and Hounds are perfectly fine. It's the fight between Empire and Vikings. Who do we put in 6 and who do we put in 7?
I'm
Chap.
going. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm going to lead toward Vikings. Uh, Only because of the high sell player. Like I think in a a roster construction breakdown, I've never seen Gladium. I don't know how they play.
I don't know either.
And I've seen Jewish legs, and I've seen Jewish legs like single-handedly win games. So I think when you break down Crazy and Oki and Sub and Gavin, I think any mixture of that, I could see it being even. But I think yeah, I'd have to put Vikings over Empire for now.
Yeah, I know crazy. You talked like about Sub saying he's not playing his best. And I haven't talked to him in a while. Um, but when you take what I've seen from Sub and what I've seen from Oki, and I put those guys in a head to head, I definitely give the nod to Sub,
I agree.
and I'm gonna give Sub that one. So, taking what you're saying based off, none of us really knowing too much about Gladium, and then you've got Jewish legs, like you guys have talked him up. So I give the nod here to the Vikings. So we got what?
I think if Empire play Vikings in the first 3 weeks, we take that. But if we let them fuel up, yeah, I'll give Vikings a nod.
So I think when you look at like the Vikings and Empire though, you guys are very almost evenly matched, right?
Yeah.
If this was like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 8, 9, 10 kind of thing, for sure. I think you guys are just very even. But it's just gonna be your guys' head to head if you guys do play them. When you play them, like who's gonna be it, and we'll find that out, right? Um, but like you said, if Sub's not playing his best right now, and you guys play him early, then you guys probably take him. But if you guys play him late and sub catches fire,
Which he will.
there's no way, right?
It's close.
Especially with how well you guys are talking about, Jewish, like that's gonna be tough. But I do think, you guys at the Empire, I think you're gonna get a lot better. And Oki is either gonna get better or worse depending on how he plays with you. Um, but Oki's so solid, like right, you just don't know what you're gonna get, and I can see Oki really being the dynamic shift here on your guys' team, and I do see that the ceiling for you guys is, a top four team. I just don't know if I can say you guys would crack top three. You have too much problems with Rye already, so uh, you know, but then you got Candy, you got Abby, in the Bears team. So I definitely see you guys cracking the top four. I don't know much about the Bears. I potentially see the Bears falling and seeing the Phantom and the Rhythm going higher. But well, we'll see. We'll see. I think the ceiling's high for a lot of these teams. Uh, I don't really see there was one dominant team. Like right now, we got Cyclones up there, and
Yeah.
that's a very good team. But if Candy and what's his face,
Knows that the Eastern Conference is going crazy.
yeah,
um,
they really are. I mean, what you got? Phantoms, Rhino, Cyclones, and the Bears all in the top five, and the only
it's
one.
just the Hounds at 10 that kind of ruins the world.
Yeah, but you have to throw one down there, right? Like you can't have all five in the top five. Um, but yeah, I mean, it really, you're right. I mean, that Eastern Conference is stacked. So
The
the good thing is that you guys down there with the Empire in the Western Conference, the only ones that you're gonna have to really worry about is the Rhythm, and the Vikings potentially. But if you guys can take out the Vikings early, the only one you got to worry about is the Rhythm. So I hope you guys don't catch them, early on in the playoffs.
um, I
But I like that.
I think we'll be fine with it. Whoever we take in the playoffs, if we make playoffs, which we should.
Yeah, you guys
OVU.
definitely should.
I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. Anyone except Cyclones, which we will hopefully. Oh yeah, if we meet them up, it'll be finals, and by then I think Oki will be alright.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be more fun in the that bottom. I really just the Eastern Conference to see how that shapes out. There's a lot of expectations, or the Western Conference. There's a lot of expectations in the Eastern Conference. With just how they are. So If we see them stay in the top four, or I guess top three, and then the fifth spot, that's no shock there. But it will be interesting to see who comes out of the East and who comes out of the West and what team takes it all. You guys got any other any things that you guys want to say real quick before we kind of end this video here and we move on to our next one?
Um,
Man, shout out the All Stars, dude. That league is so fun to watch. I
Ah.
like you were talking about I think it was crazy. Real quick, you were talking about maybe I forget it was a team was fun to watch, and we keep talking about Candy and Quidar. I think that's gonna be like must-watch TV.
yeah.
Like, I think that's gonna be so like if a match between them and the Cyclones, or even like another offensive juggernaut team, like if Ebb finds a good teammate, it's where you start to really see some of those like crazy plays develop. It's gonna be fun.
I think for
Yeah,
me, it's the
I'm so
Bears.
excited.
For me, it's the Bears. For
Yeah,
most fun to watch. For me.
good one. That's
Honestly, I
another
mean,
good
you
one.
just like when we look at contender, right? Contender was pretty close. Like there was no concrete winner in contender. Um, Here, there's no concrete winner. I think contender, you could almost look and say, hey, like this is probably going to be the team that wins, right? Um, depending on what happens with LTR, like you could sit there and say he's the best player, like we're going to give him the nod, like that's that's easy, right? And then you look at the Cyclones over there, and you're like, well, if the Cyclones end up, getting a good 10-5, right, they could win, or how they play, like really you look at the top three in contender and you're like, this is probably going to be the winning team, one of these three. Here, it's really really hard because I look at the top three or the top five, and I'm like, any of these teams can win. Any of them can win easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to 6 and 7, and you're like, dude, on any given Sunday, like yeah, like one of these teams can pop off in the playoffs and ride it out, and that's how URL turns out. Is like there's always that team that just makes a huge playoff run. I think last season was the first time where we've actually seen a bunch of like high sal teams or like high ranked teams go all the way through. So I am kind of excited to see what the Empire and the Vikings do more out of all these teams, because those are my dark horse teams right there to go all the way. But if I had to choose a team that's going to win it all, if Candy and Qdar find a really good teammate to at least sit with them, at that 12.5 spot, dude, it's hard for me to go against the Phantom here.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more Phantom look really good. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think it really matters who the third is. This should be all right.
yeah, I'm almost hesitant to even say like, man, like we could put the Phantom at 2, man. Like it just based off those two players alone. They're scary, bro. They're scary. Uh,
I'm fine with this, but they can be
I'm
better.
definitely fine with this. I'm just saying, like, like when you think about it more, you're like, they are
Oh
a
yeah, they're
very
good.
scary team. So I my favorite right now, Phantom to win it all. Dark horse team is Vikings or Empire. What do you guys think?
I think it's hard to
You got to pick one. You
I
got to pick a
I'm
favorite.
I have one, and I was kind of thinking on how to word this. I think it's hard to pick against the Cyclones.
yeah. I'm going Cyclones.
I like I. How many times it's like getting punched in the face and saying, "Wow, that didn't suck." Like it happens over and over again. It sucks every time.
It does.
Rise just
Yeah,
done it season and season and season and season. I don't know how you can go against it. Until I'm proven wrong, I will say Cyclones.
it is. It is definitely like trying to bet against Patrick Mahomes, man.
Yes.
That's right now, the Patrick Mahomes of All Star. It is definitely hard to bet, but for me, my favorite is I'm gonna ride with it through the whole season. The Phantom. Crazy. What
Love you.
about you?
Um, see, I would say Cyclones, and I think that would be the pick, just because. I mean, how can I say that the man that hasn't beaten me every time in every playoffs is not gonna be
Same.
number one? That has won every,
Same.
that have back to back. Like me not, putting respect on him would just be disrespectful because I lost to him every time. It's honestly just like I see Ryan Gavin, like, okay, well, this is gonna be hard. He's always consistent. He's always makes good roster. It's just really hard to bet against the man. But if I had to pick a different team, I'm going Bears.
I like it, man. I like it. Like we all three
Bears.
have a different position on this, right? But we all have the same. In the end, we all have like the same conclusion.
I
Like you
think
can't
that
really
I
bet
think that
against
top
Rye.
three is interchangeable,
Yeah,
and I'm
I
fine with it.
agree.
I honestly the top five. The top five is just that dynamic, and I think that's where you start like kind of losing after that how dynamic the rest of the team is. But uh, I like how we all have a different team that we're kind of favoriting here. And then you look at just like, we all are in agreement. You can never really bet against Rye, but if we had to go somewhere else, my favorite's Phantom, Crazies is the Bears. But Chap said, nah, bro, there's no betting against it. Like this is my favorite here.
Yeah. I mean, it was last 2 season and the previous 3 season. I got
Yep.
beaten finals by Rye.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, that wraps us up here for the All Star.